and now it's up to me to give you some information about the existing registers in Europe. And this is not my work; it's the work of FindexII, yeah, which you can find on the e-Justice website. What the European Institute did as a real good job, I think. Is that we have information about each country, and well, we put in some input from Euro experts so that we can have some statistics nowadays to see where we are with the registers. And this is something I would share with you, and hopefully I could share it also with you all over in Europe. Great. Thank you. So I have only two sections. I just wanted to start with giving you some information and statistics. It's really easy. It's only counting, so we can follow, I'm sure, about the expert systems in different jurisdictions, and what are the qualifications behind and competence of experts which are necessary to be in such a list. And well, on the first side or slide, what I can give you or share with you, you see that we have more or less countries where we have complete national lists where all disciplines are in. We have countries who have only partly the experts in their lists, because there's only for some of them some kind of regulation. Then we have a lot of countries who have all disciplines, but they are regionally organized. So they might have, or they might use, or should use perhaps a link, a national link, to get a national all list. And of course, we have 5 countries which have no lists. And well, you can see it's on the one side a little bit regional. You can see it's on the outskirts of Europe where we have no lists. First of all, in the northern part. And the regional lists we find in countries like Spain, Italy, Greece, Malta, and therefore, no, it's not Malta, it's Cyprus, and Poland. That's why we thought it would be a good idea, because they're working on a national nomenclature to integrate them as pilot countries. But this gives you the first idea of what is the situation in Europe at the moment. So what I said, and that is the positive thing. From the 27, we have 22 who have lists or directories. And so it's a big number, I think, where we can build on our knowledge, I think. And it's a little bit encouraging, I think. Then we had a look for this presentation. Who are the registering bodies? And there are also differences. We have in 11 countries, we have regional courts who are in charge of the directories. We have in some countries the Minister of Justice who is responsible for the list. And we have 4 countries where the government mandated some bodies. It's, for example, the case in Germany. So that gives us an idea of the differences, and I think this is also very encouraging. Well, you see, of course, the 5 who have no registration. Perhaps we can convince them for the future that they do some kind of registration. Then we have had a first look on the availability of the lists, especially if they are electronically available. And this includes a PDF and a database. So publicly available are now 16 lists from the 27th. We have partly publicly available lists, and we have in some countries only internally available lists. And of course, our 5 who have no lists. I think this gives you a first impression of the work we have to, or the arena we have our work in. I think, however, it's quite encouraging that most of the countries have some kind of list. Now it's only our work to find some common way, which will not be easy. I can tell you, because I know the discussions on nomenclatures on the national basis. Therefore, I'm quite happy to see this on a European platform then in the future. Yeah, let us speak about some qualifications and competencies of experts to get in one of those lists. So I only look at the 22 who have a list now to give you the right numbers. Well, we have, for example, looked at the minimum requirements of practical experience. And there we find a lot of similarities. Let me say, first of all, that a lot of those 22 have not at all a concrete year-based experience. What is a requirement? However, there are 10 countries who say, well, in our country, experts could only be registered if they have at least 3 years or 5 years or more than 5 years of experience in the discipline where I want to be registered. So there are quite some differences at the moment. And yeah, I think this is, gives us also for the working package 2 some high level of discussion, what we can recommend for our jury, what would help. Well, we have to ask the countries why they chose 5 years, why they chose 3 years, why they chose no years. And I think that is a good discussion. General requirements for registration are quite similar. We have on the one hand academic qualification, which is required, or some kind of professional qualification. And of course, I think this is the most important, that all of these lists require practical experience. So no one who just made a bachelor or a master without any experience could be listed all over Europe. I think this is very important because I had some approaches where some universities tried to give students at the age of 22 possibilities to be an expert. And I think this is not the right way. I think one of the main requirements for a good expert is the experience, where the judges can rely on. What is in all countries the same? You should not have a criminal record. That's in all the 22 countries. So it's quite common without any regulation. So then I had a look at the registration. How long is the registration in these 22 countries? And well, it's interesting to see we have at about 7 countries who have 5 to 6 years. We have some countries with 1 to 4 years. However, more than a half have no limitation. That's quite interesting, because the countries who limit it to some kind of years have some qualification or quality insurance idea, and it would be interesting to understand those who have no limitations on the list. So quite interesting discussion, I think, because we will do some, let me say, European recommendation. And so we have to, on the one hand, we have to find solutions for all of the countries, but I think we also have to keep in mind that we need high qualified experts for the courts. So it's quite interesting work what we will see. Then another topic which I had a look at was the continuous practice development or ongoing training. Is this required to stay on a list? And so we see it is required in 10 countries. Some countries, these three, asked for some kind of activity report. And in 9 countries, we have no requirement for ongoing training or practice development, which is really interesting, I think. And this will also show us, yeah, it's not easy to find one way. We have to be, I think, in our first step of criteria, we have to be a little bit, we have to give options. And I think this is something that show this really good work from the European Institute in the FindexII projects. I think the only thing that I did, I counted it, yeah, from 1 to 9 or 1 to 10. And then combined it with the experience we have in EuroExpert. And I think this gives us a lot of input for our work in the project now, FindexII. Yeah, you saw some kind of expert systems in the different jurisdictions. I gave you some little information about this. And we had a first view on qualifications and competencies of experts in the European Union. And I'm happy to ask any further questions. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Okay. Mm. As an expert or as a professional? That was not clear to me. Yeah, that is. In a professional course, after you've written any professional experience, I understand, but how can you practice as an expert on the list but you're required to have 5 years of experience? Is that what you meant, or did I just not get it right? I think you got it excellently right. Yeah, because I was not clear. No, giving you the explanation just for the people who are sitting outside in front of their screens. We had the questions. I just tried to summarize your question. Is there some kind of difference in practical experience which has to be shown as an expert or only in the field of expertise? And to be honest, I have no answer because it was not clear in the answers of the countries. However, I can tell you that there are most of the countries only ask for general practical experience. I would say 80%. And 20% ask for, I only can say this from Germany, they ask for 3 years of practical experience as expert outside of the court. So that gives you the range a little bit. So I was not clear, and that I'm happy that you realized this. But we have had no clear answer. And I think also in our working groups, we have to discuss about this to get some kind of exchange. Yeah, because in the end, we want, I think our main target will be to give best practices, to give advice to the countries that they can say, okay, I choose this system, and the experience for this is this, and the experience for this is that. That was my feeling when I said we need options. Yeah, because we will not change the national systems in the next 10 to 15 years. We have to get on with those countries who have some systems, but we have to make sure, on the other hand, and that is what Claude in our discussions always said, is I want to be sure as judge when I appoint somebody from a list somewhere outside of my country, I want to be sure that they have they met some criteria, and I want to be sure that they met it. And this will be the big challenge in the project, I can tell you. Thank you very much for this very good question. Other questions? Yeah.
It works. I'd like to ask you first. Question is, can I ask whether the UK was not included in Brexit? Asia was not divided.
Yes, it is because the information was provided, and we have a UK member in Euroexpert, so we know about the system. But I was speaking about the 27 EU members, so that's the only thing. But I would be happy if we still have people from the UK who support and work together with us, because we do not make politics experts. We want to work together. Yeah, and that's why I think they have a lot of quality in their system, where we learned a lot from. We did not always accept a lot of them, but the input from the UK was always very interesting.
Well, just a word about that. I explained that clearly. We are not authorized to fund works with people who are not in the European Commission. It's clear. But be careful on subject. Some countries are not authorized to work on projects. For example, in the world of justice, countries like Denmark are not authorized to work on all the projects because they don't contribute completely to the budget for justice. So it's not so easy. And this is for us, we are obliged to respect that, and it's in our contract. I don't reread the contract, but we can find this information in the contract. Okay, so, but I agree with Bernhard, our friend, British are well accepted to work with us, but we cannot pay for that. I'm sorry. But vous êtes bienvenue. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, Jean-Raymond. So these were the questions, Beatrice? Yeah. Yeah. I think this is excellent. We are on time. Thank you very much.